Hey guys, Richard at Ryden's Room here, doing my latest review. This time is for Season 3 of Game On. Finished this last night, this morning, before I just jump straight into the review for it. So yeah, much like Series 2, it carries over long-running storylines the whole time. This, I don't know, for Series 2, it's mostly the first 4 episodes with a bit of full-up on each. It felt like this is more the whole thing. And yeah, it was the final series as well. Apparently there was talk of a 4th series, but really without putting more in, like letting Matt be completely free of going out, etc. You're kind of limiting what you're doing, but series 3 wraps up quite nicely. Yeah, I don't know why, I don't know if it's different when they first aired on TV in the 90s, but series 3 is the only one where the episode names aren't on there. On the box, they're not even in the episode menu. It just says episode 1, but I found out the episode names years ago and they're still easy to find, so I'll go by them. So yeah, episode 1, Palms, Pigs and Bad Debts. That's a pretty funny episode. Matt is now, even though he met that ginger student, he dumped her because he didn't want to go out at all. Bit of a throwaway of his growth in series 2, but well, what can you do, I guess. But yeah, he's now trying to get girls by pretending to be learning palm reading and astrology and all that stuff. He thinks no normal guy would ever be interested in, but girls really believe it. So his plan is to shag girls by reading their palms, except he's got no girls to practice on except Mandy, and that's never going to work on her. Pigs is referring to Mandy's new boss, Archie, who becomes a long-running character. He's a works in business but doesn't enjoy it at all, and he's more of a pig farmer in his spare time. And Bad Debts is Mandy. It turns out she's got £9,000 worth of debts, and a debt collector shows up. And those are like the main plots of this series. Matt trying to get girls by being a palm reader, and Mandy's bad debts being introduced and then wrapped up by the end of the episode. Her boss Archie, who falls in love with her, pays all the debts off when the debt collector finds her place of work. It's pretty funny. Matt, of course, tries his palm reading on her, fails, and then becomes convinced with her big hands and that she doesn't believe in palmistry, she must be a transsexual. It's pretty funny. She ends up beating Matt up like most people do. She gives him what he imagines his knob being chopped off, I feel like. It's very funny. Mandy gets a job, and her boss Archie is like a normal guy. He's not lecherous like all the other ones, and yeah, he feels bad for us. So he pays all her debts off, although she does plan to pay him back, and he asks her out. And that's the end of the episode. Episode 2 follows on from that. Mandy's with him, but it doesn't look like the relationship's going to work. She just can't focus on anything besides his money. There's a great couple of scenes when she imagines him wearing a jacket made of bank notes and a tie made of pound coins. It's pretty funny. End of the episode, Archie's pretty hurt that Mandy appears to only be interested in his money, but she admits she's not. She just finds it hard to focus on anything else about him. He ends up falling madly in love with her because he loves her personality, that she's not all uptight and pompous like all these women that you can imagine with his wealthy background he's set up with. So he ends up proposing to her and they end up getting engaged by the end of the episode. And of course, the main part of the story is Martin's baby. Matt is not happy with Martin's choice of videos. He's tired of his poncy, wimpy ginger videos like The English Patient. It comes with a list of all sorts of insanely violent and perverted movies and sends Martin to the video store to get them for him. Of course, Martin has embarrassed himself asking for all sorts of videos in front of innocent women. It's pretty good. And yeah, it turns out Claire's given birth. She tries to pass the baby off as someone else's, and then because baby's got ginger hair, admits that it's Martin. And yeah, Martin's still not over Claire. He's convinced he still has a chance with her, and now he's got a baby. He thinks he may still have a chance. He doesn't. He plans to ask her out again, but he realises she'd say no because it turns out she only wants him to look after their child Rosie when she can go off on dates with men. And yeah, it's a good episode. It's quite sweet seeing how happy Martin is, and of course it's just the hilarious ending is Matt just saying when he sees Rosie, "No one said she was a ginger tosser." It's just awful, saying that about a girl who's maybe about a year old. Very, very funny though. Next episode, Marines and Vacuum Cleaners. This is kind of the Matt Home Alone all day type episode. He's basically Mandy's fiance Archie used to be a Marine. Matt becomes fascinated in the Marine life, decides he wants to be a Marine, and comes to this story about how he had this brother who died before he qualified. It turns out he's stolen that story from Archie. It's so bad. When Matt's bored at home, he sets loads of stuff up, like nets to climb around. He starts messing with the temperature, simulate the desert and freezing cold. It's all really insane. And the vacuum cleaner is him first using the vacuum cleaner as a gun to pretend to be fighting Nazis, and then he turns it on and starts He's basically, yes, wondering what he can fit in the vacuum cleaner. It's very, very funny. He has to, like, Claire has to come around and like save him. Archie shows up all his marine friends, and of course Matt has to get rid of them by having Claire say that he's gay and gay people won't be accepted in the Marines. It's pretty funny, and of course they finally remove the vacuum cleaner from him right as Mandy walks in. Matt tries to act like this is perfectly normal. Yeah, very funny episode as well. And in the end, when they find out Matt's made this story about his brother just stole from Archie, Mandy and Martin go to punish him and use the vacuum cleaner on him. Great episode. Very funny. And of course, the other plot now on is Archie being impotent, and yeah, Mandy getting this cold is what fixes the problem. So yeah, pretty funny. Next episode, crabs. Those about the animals. Crabs, nothing too perfect by Game On standards. Basically, Mandy's trying to impress Archie's like really snobbish mum and sister, and she like tries to buy all this expensive food and drinks herself unconscious. And Martin and Matt have to like have the dinner with them and pass off Martin's frozen microwave meals his mum makes him as like rich food, which seems to work alright. But yeah, it's a good episode. It's like the series 4, episode 4, series 2 with Jason. It gets a bit sad at times. It turns out that Mandy's had a child with Stoke, who was also in that same episode, and had to have the baby adopted. Archie's sister Lulu sees Mandy and Martin with their baby, Martin and Claire's, and thinks that they've secretly got a child together. And yeah, it's kind of sad because Mandy thinks Archie, when he finds out, is going to like end the relationship, but he's not going to. It's quite a good episode, but yeah, it's probably the one I skip because it's not the most fun of all of them. And the next episode is one that I tend to always see back when it's on TV. It's called episode 5, Laura, and this is just incredibly funny. Again, it's kind of Matt home alone all day. Although not quite as much as episode 3 was. It's him trying to impress this really hot neighbour from upstairs, Laura, fails completely, and then he somehow is successful. He comforts her after a row with her husband, and as he says later, she needed a lot of comforting. So yeah, that's what happens, and the whole episode really is Matt trying to like prove he's having an affair. He tries to like filming her, so stealing her clothes. It doesn't work. In the end, Martin has to hide when Laura comes in and sees what Matt is doing. Yeah, Matt takes great pleasure in shagging her in front of Martin. It's pretty damn funny. And yeah, the other plot is Martin realising Claire's going to leave, to Australia. Turns out her really muscular boyfriend Shane is an Aussie, and she's going there because, like she said, so she wants to do things like travel, and Martin didn't. And yeah, Martin decides to he gets a lawyer early in the series, but you don't really see much of it. Just that he doesn't like women very much. And then yeah, this is probably the funniest guest actor. This guy, his lawyer, really hates women, and yeah, he's eager to have help Martin out because of course he's experienced the same sort of thing. It's pretty funny, just this complete breakdown when he bursts into tears when he remembers how his child bit him on the cheek rather than like let him kiss her goodbye. Very funny. And yeah, Martin then decides to abduct Rosie and go to Brazil. It's completely insane. You can't take any stuff seriously. He realizes it's a terrible idea when he actually sees that Claire has a bond with Rosie, which he somehow didn't think was there. So yeah, that's kind of the end of the episode. Matt has a great mental breakdown when even with Martin as a witness, and Mandy doesn't believe about his affair, so I start screaming about what he's doing. And Laura's husband in the flat above hears him, comes down to deal with Matt. Martin answers the door. And of course, he just assumed it's Martin who was shagging Laura, thumps him in the face, and leaves. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, Martin is wanting to take Matt's punishment as usual. Yeah, very funny episode and probably one of the most watched of the series. And the finale, episode 6, Wedding Day. This is like the wedding. Mandy's getting cold feet. She's not sure if she loves Archie enough to get married. Archie's doing all these challenges for his the Marines set for anyone who gets engaged. He does all sorts of bizarre things like wear dresses and relieve himself at the top of a bus. It's a very funny story. You get Matt some development again at last, where he's having to actually go out. It turns out Archie suffered agoraphobia as well, and Matt makes Matt realise there's nothing to do but just go outside, and hope the world's not as horrible as you think it is. So yeah, Mandy, even though she's got a doubt, she does go to the wedding. But although she does have a silent prayer to the wedding can be stalled if Archie just has a very small stroke, and fortunately Archie ends up dying in a car crash. A bit of a sad episode because Archie was quite a fun character. and Mandy thinks her prayer for a very small stroke with no permanent damage has done it, but it's not. It turns out he had to, one of his Marines challenges killed him. He had to get a speeding ticket on his wedding day, didn't, and ended up crashing when trying to like avoid a rabbit that went into the road. Yeah, it's a bit of a sad one. Archie's a fun character. You can imagine it'll probably set Matt back from him going out again. Because he does go out, he hides in their car, which Martin has to drive Mandy to the church in. Yeah, good episode. It's an amusing ending when like you just get the idea that Mandy is going to be stuck in the flat with Matt and Martin forever. Just perfect ending. Martin has to make Mandy the tea because she's got a funny colour according to Matt. Yeah, good episode. So overall, really good series. Again, I've said this with series 2 as well. Compared to other shows, I like that it does have long running stories. It helps the show a lot more that it's not just something happens and then they forget about it and it's the next one, like kind of like how Bottom works. You know, that's not a shot at Bottom. I just like that. It's just I'm watching at the same time, so it's like the closest comparison right now. Obviously, there's other shows like How Even Father Ted, which I love, didn't really do continuity. But yeah, Game On, very, very funny. Remember when I got this back in 2004, right for my birthday actually. For some reason, Series 1 had a DVD release, like just imagine DVDs started getting popular. Series 2 and 3 never got DVD releases until like they both got them at the same time, and then they got this full set. And funny story actually with this is actually one of the better cases. It's like it's not some, but then apologise Bottom, but that's just one where it's just the 3 DVD boxes put inside a big box, and Game On is like that where you've got the actual, you've got like your slot for the manual. It's ultimately the discs have been put into a better box. I'm just all 3 cases in. It makes it a bit smaller, fits it nice on the shelf, and it shows it's like a proper set. So yeah, I pre-ordered it assuming that it would be the 3 disc DVD cases just inside a box. Had it delivered to my work. I worked at Farm Foods in 04, Milton Keynes, and thinking, they said that's fine because it just would never have got from my letterbox and I didn't want to have to go to the sorting office. And then it just came in like this. I didn't have bothered. So that's fun. But yeah, I always like this for being a small one, and you can see it's like really showing its age from being 2004. It's got to be one of my list DVDs. I think maybe only Simpsons season 5 might be old, and I bought that early 05. Who knows? I'll have to work out one day. But yeah, so that's it. Game On series 1, 2, 3. Really enjoyable. Absolutely recommended. It's not one of the most like known shows of all. Obviously, if you don't think people think about the general 90s shows, it's like this is probably closest in like humour and set up to Remember Everything Badly. And it's still got the same like inappropriateness of later comedies like Peep Show or even Gimme Gimme Gimme. It's, you know, people say it's not PC. No, unfortunately, like so many 90s, 2000s and before shows, they would probably never make it stay because it's so full of offensive stuff. You know, Matt being Martin's friend and calling him a ginger tosser, calling Mandy all sorts of like names related to her behaviour of men, and just homophobia, all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't like that. These days, these things are apparently too offensive to not be authorised now. But as long as you don't care about that stuff and you just find it genuinely funny, you know, you can't go wrong with this show. Absolutely great. It may be a bit jarring that it's a different Matt in each series. You know, the green is series 1, Ben Chaplin's Matt, and then the yellow and orangey red is Neil Stooks' Matt. But hey, what can you do? The leader had to got a job making films in America. Who's going to turn that down? But yeah, as long as you're not too bothered about that. I mean, overall, I prefer Neil Stooks. Maybe it's because I saw him first, so did a lot of people. But yeah, it's just more, I've always said Neil Stooks' Matt is more like, I don't know, vulnerable. Whereas Ben Chaplin's Matt is more of a complete psycho. It's like really horrible and violent. But yeah, it just depends on your taste, really. Obviously, Ben Chaplin would have worked in all 3. It's not as if like I can't picture him being Matt. And yeah, he probably would have still been a bit more vulnerable. Like we might have maybe more of his aggressive side, who knows. But yeah, really loved it. Massively recommend it. It should be pretty cheap now. I know they've even reissued this set a few years ago because my sister-in-law bought the set as well. I've got a feeling it's still this style rather than just the DVDs slotted in, like boxes slotted into a larger box. But yeah, can't really go wrong. Definitely recommend it. It's just incredibly funny. 6 episodes a series. It's not too much, it's not too long or anything. So yeah, definitely recommended it. Okay, and hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe if you'd like. Have more coming all the time. We're watching Rick and Morty on Netflix next. Now they just added series 5 because we missed it on E4 a few months ago, or earlier last year, whatever it was. And then it'll be Gavin and Stacey because I bought my wife the newest box set for Christmas, and then Father Ted because haven't seen that show in ages, and it's always fun to rewatch. And again, it's fun to watch the ones I usually skip. And then in October, I'm going to be doing a Doctor Who rewatch. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. I'll take a while to explain it, so I'll go into more detail another time. But yeah, see you next time. Thank you.